Peace, neighbors. Yo, it's poppin' with the population, man. It's your favorite neighbor, Dayron, aka Neighborhood, man. Welcome back to the greatest more life show on the planet. As you guys can see, we back outside getting to it to get through it today. We are in one of the most abundant times of the year. Yes, I said it. One of the most abundant times of the year. And no, it's not because we have a just unlimited variety of fruits available to us, because we actually don't right now, but it's because it's fall. And what does that mean? A lot of your trees are starting to shed those leaves, and the leaves are falling on the ground, and now your yard, your food forest is just full of just leaves, dried up leaves. And I'm here to tell you that is where the abundance is. That's the abundance that I'm talking about. It's time to switch our mentality, our mind frame of how we think of leaves. Especially if we have food forests, gardens, or, if you have both. You should be looking at this time like you're coming across gold, especially when it comes to your trees and your gardens, because you have a great supply of nutrients at your feet, neighbors. And what am I talking about? The leaves. The leaves that are falling off your trees are some of the most nutrient dense amendments that you can add or leave on the soil, and they have multiple functions. They retain water, they release nutrients as they break down into the soil, they feed the microorganisms in the soil as the leaves break down. They also help keep the ground cool. Typically a lot of us don't like this time because we got to go outside, we got to rake up all these leaves, and we got to put them in the dumpster. But I'm here to tell you, them days are over. If you have trees in your backyard, if you're trying to, have a garden and a food forest, no matter what you're growing, whether you're growing in the ground, whether you're growing in pots, in buckets, in a box, indoors, outdoors, it does not matter. Those days of collecting leaves and just throwing them in the trash are over, neighbors. Yes, they're over. And this video is going to help you break those mental chains that you're under. It's basically a great way to reuse and recycle. Don't just drop on the floor, and they're not just waste. They're actually compost. They're actually full of nutrients that you can feed those microorganisms, feed the bacteria, feed the mycelium network. I don't know if some of you guys been to nature parks, or if you go into the woods, you realize that, a lot of these trees don't have all these amendments that we utilize in our gardens or to feed our trees, and they still are thriving. They're thriving because if you really look at the floor, it's full of leaves. It's full of one of the top amendments that you could ever utilize in your gardens, in your compost, which is leaf compost. Over time, those leaves start to break down, the worms get in it, the fungi get into it, the mold starts to grow. It breaks those beautiful nutrients that these leaves are holding and puts it right back into the soil, which the microorganisms start to break down, and then also make that available to your tree to then start the process of making its own food again. That's when your tree starts to push out new growth. You see more fruit starting to appear on the tree, and your tree goes from fruiting 10 fruits last season to 30 fruits in the next season. It didn't really cost you much to insinuate this process, neighbors, because it's natural. It happens every day in the forest, it happens in the woods, it happens everywhere. Leaves are falling on the ground, and you are missing the opportunity to recycle this beautiful nutrients and feed it back to your trees, feed your gardens, no matter what you're growing. Sweet potatoes, scallions, tomatoes, pineapples, red sorrel, no matter what fruit bearing tree you have. Time to change our mind frame, because these leaves that we see on the ground, neighbors, are no longer just waste. These are gold. This is food for your trees. This is food for your food. Neighbors, the food that you want to grow, this is the food that you could utilize. And the good thing about it is you could use almost any leaf to compost. The only leaf I would not advise you to utilize, to reuse, to compost, the ones that you should actually rake up and throw away, your poison ivy trees, your sumac trees. So if you have a black walnut tree, those type of trees, the oil from these leaves can actually leach into the soil and be poison to anything that's growing around it. I would definitely say don't utilize those leaves. But anything else, you can utilize banana leaves, soursop leaves, any tropical fruit bearing tree leaves, maple trees, apple leaves, pear leaves, like watermelon leaves, you know, sweet potato leaves. No matter what, you can utilize those leaves. This is how we create sustainable gardens, sustainable food forests that's feeding itself. You know what I'm saying? Instead of throwing these things out, let's start to reutilize these things, repurpose these things back into the soil. You know, create our own compost. It's very easy, neighbors. And for those of you who have been wanting to start your compost but don't know where to start, rake up your leaves and put them in the trash can, neighbors. Ain't nothing much to it. Neighbors, I'm not even gonna lie, man. I really just showed y'all a very quick and easy way to start making compost. Compost is not hard. It really isn't. And if you really break down the word compost, it's basically just reusing what's already been used. Recycling what you, the trees, plants, whatever is not using, putting it in a pile, allowing the microorganisms, the fungi, mycelium network, etc., to break that down into a more finer nutrients to refeed your plants, regenerate the soil, start a garden bed. A lot of times we think that compost always starts in the kitchen, but really, your compost could start out here, you know, around this time when, or whenever you have a time where you have an immense amount of leaves falling off the tree. You know, some company out there is taking everybody's waste, is partnering with lawn service people, getting all their scraps. They're tapping in with the lumber companies, getting their scraps, their wood chips, whatever lawn services use, from the grass clippings to the leaf mold, all that, and using that to create their own compost to then sell to you. You have all that's available to one, make your own compost, to create an amendment for your trees, to use as a mulch for your trees. Like, there's so many ways you can utilize leaves, neighbors, other than just throwing them out. They're not a waste. They are gold. Especially if you have desires, dreams, goals to grow your own food, to grow your own food forest, to have one that's in unison, have a whole permaculture thing going on in your backyard. You have gold right at your feet, and all you do is throw it out every day. It's time to change our mentalities about leaves, neighbors. It's time to change the way we see fall and look at it as how we look at spring. You know how we look at spring as the mark of abundance, where, you know, everything's blooming, the fruit trees are bearing fruits and stuff like that. We need to start looking at fall that way as well. Abundance doesn't just occur when fruit is bearing on the tree, neighbors. Abundance occurs all year long, neighbors. It's just you got to change your perspective to it. You just gotta change your perspective and shift the way you're thinking. Stop wasting your time and throwing away these leaves, or as I would say, compost gold, and start reusing these leaves. If you want to know how to further compost this, make sure to go check out my composting vids. I definitely have a parts 1 and parts 2 on there that you go check out. Get back in your bag, neighbors. Let's add another layer to us. Let's add something else to the arsenal, neighbors. Let's get outside. Let's get to growing, and let's get to composting so that our trees and our gardens can get to thriving. Then our health will start striving. And no longer are we going to look at our leaves and think about this time of fall as a time where we gotta go outside and rake all these leaves up. No, we're gonna look at fall as in a time where nature is having an abundance of nutrients just laying around, neighbors. That being said, man, make sure to do your due diligence. Get this episode a like. Make sure to comment neighbor and neighborhood in the comments below. Are you that person I'm speaking to that's constantly looking at your leaves as waste and not as gold? Well, it's time to shift. Make sure to follow me on all my socials at neighborhood nature underscore, as well as subscribe to the channel. Why? So we could continue to grow this channel one neighbor at a time. Also, if you want to start your food forest journey but don't know where to necessarily start, make sure to go tap into the online plant nursery. We got a plethora of fruit bearing trees, seeds, and seasonal herbs for you to tap into. I'm telling you guys, neighbors, we about to have a whole bunch of grafted trees and air layer trees at a great price for you guys. Just go see what your favorite neighbor has to offer. Collection is growing, the knowledge is growing, and you already know the neighborhood is growing. You already know the mainstay motto, which is grow your own / support true righteous local growers like myself, or continue to rely on a broker system to supply you their own. We all know what their own is gonna give you. So peace, love, and light. Much healing to you and yours. It's your favorite neighbor, Dayron, aka Neighborhood. See you on the next one. You dig?